Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining me. Today we are doing another Happy Day series. We're using this paper pad from Basic Gray. It's called RSVP. It's a well-loved and a pretty old paper pad, but I love the bright colors. I store my paper pads in a Ziploc baggie. I just trim off the Ziploc part and then I store it upside down in my baggies. This way all the loose pieces stay together, and I find this works great. I'm also going to be using a die set from my favorite things called Coffee Cup. We're going to make a coffee card today. Starting off with some pattern papers. I'm going to take I'm going to call them bold prints, but they're multicolored prints on the larger side, and then I'm going to take a few of the two-tone pattern. I love those cupcakes, boy. We need to make a cupcake card. Maybe that will be next. But I also am going to take some two-tone pattern papers and then some polka dots that are kind of on the subtle side. We're going to start off by doing some die cutting, starting with the cup cozy and this diagonal stripe paper. For the coffee cup, we're going to take this two-tone pink pattern paper. We'll just trim that down so it fits inside of our die cut machine a little bit easier. And then there's a little heart. We'll cut out a teal colored heart with this pattern paper. Next, for the coffee cup lid, I thought we would break it up a little bit and bring in some white cardstock. We'll create a white lid for our coffee cup. And then I'm also going to bring in some double stitch circle dies to create a pretty large circle frame. If you don't have these, I think any kind of circle dies that you have that you layer two together to create a thin frame would work fantastic. And then I wanted something to be behind my teal colored circle, so I'm going to take another circle. These circle die set doesn't have stitch lines, but I'm just finding one that will fit my heart that's a little bit larger. And so we're going to cut out a smaller circle with the white cardstock as well. So once everything's die cut, we'll just punch our lid out and we're going to work on our background panel. I love the polka dots here, so I thought that would create a great background. I am going to break up this pattern with another piece of pattern paper. I'm just trimming it down. This pattern has little blocks on it, so I wanted two sets of blocks. I just trim that down and we'll use our tape runner to adhere those both together. I like to do this when I use my stitched rectangle dies. This way I have stitch lines all the way around. So I'm going to grab one of those, and this is going to create a panel that's 3.5 inches by 4 3/4. So it's going to leave me about a 1/2 inch of a border around my card base. Once that's die cut, we're ready to assemble our cute little coffee cup. I'll take some foam tape and adhere our lid. Trim off a little extra piece here. We'll place that on the very top. Next, using my tape runner, I'll adhere my little circle to my, is it a cup cozy? The holder? I always forget what they call those. After I add my little circle adhered, we'll pop up our heart with some foam tape. Place that in the middle of the circle. And you can see how the white kind of breaks up that stripe paper. Okay, we'll add a piece of foam tape behind here. We'll go ahead and adhere this to our coffee cup. And I think it's a super duper cute coffee cup. We're going to go ahead and add our foam tape while we have that out. And so this will be ready to go. Okay, we're going to take our background panel and adhere this directly to our card base using our tape runner. Card base is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Place that in the center. Next, using my glue, I'll adhere my circle frame, kind of positioning my coffee cup in the center. We'll just glue that down, and I'm going to offset it just a little bit to the right, and then using my scissors, we'll trim off the excess. I'm going to add a little bit more glue to that corner there. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment. For my sentiment, I'm using a coffee sentiment set. It's called Coffee Break, and it's also by MFT. A lot of fun coffee sentiments in here. I chose the one that says, "Let's catch up over coffee." For this, I'm going to be using some Memento Rich Cocoa ink. I've had this ink forever. I promise you, it's about 3 years old, and it still inks up beautifully. But I stamp that. I'll use my paper trimmer to trim it down. Next, we'll adhere our coffee cup to our card base, making sure it fits in our little center of our circle there. Now I want to add this polka dot stripe paper. I'm going to go the width of my card base, so it's going to be 4 1/4 inches. We'll just trim it down, and it's going to go over the bottom portion of my coffee mug. So we're going to flip it over. I'm going to add foam tape to the left and the right side, and then in the center I'll use my tape runner. That's where it's going to land on my coffee cup. This way everything's nice and even, nice and balanced. Next, we'll add some foam tape behind our sentiment. I'm going to fishtail the left end of my sentiment just using my scissors, and then we're going to trim down the right side. And I didn't trust myself with my scissors, so I'm going to use my paper trimmer. This way I know it's straight. We'll add a piece of foam tape behind here. We're going to need a thinner piece. And then that's going to go on our polka dot pattern paper. Okay, next, for finishing touches, I'm going to bring in some glossy accents. We're going to go over our little teal colored heart. Give that a little bit of glossiness. And then there's little polka dots right below my sentiment pattern paper. I thought we'd dot each one of those little polka dots. It's going to add a little bit more texture to the pattern paper, and it's going to give it a little bit more glossiness too. And then we need a little sparkle, of course. So I have some iridescent glitter drops. These are my favorite. They're from Nuvo, and they are called White Blizzard. Real pretty iridescent glitter drop. I'm going to go over a few of the stripes on my little cup cozy there, and then that finishes off my card for today, guys, using the pattern paper. The nice thing about this layout is you could use anything in place of the coffee cup. You could use some flowers or even a coffee mug. But I thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I wish you a lovely day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.